I ran into this video on Instagram, um, and I wanted to react to it. And this is gonna be Vol.9 of a series I started, and I'm sure gonna last into perpetuity called Message to the Black Woman. Now I don't often make videos in this series. Been a while, probably been about a few months rather. Um, but I have to use this video to address a issue with our women. Now, I also want to say this too. This is not a gender war channel. This is not a page where we bash black men, we bash black women. That's not what we do. Um, but what we do is constructively, um, address some of the issues that both of us have going on, because ultimately we have to come together, get this right, so we can continue on our lineage positively, without the degenerate energy that a lot of us have now. We have to, as I always say, turn back to God as men, and then our women gonna begin to get back in the position that they supposed to be in. But it starts with us. So when I address men, yes, I am a little bit more harsh. We need it. I need it. Black men need it. We are the head. With whom much is given, much is expected. And we can sit on our high horse. We can sit behind computers. We can sit behind whatever we want to do in our groups or whatever, and bash black women till the cow come home. But at the end of the day, we are the head. What we see with our women is because of us. And when I say because of us, it may not be because of you per se, but it was because of a man who didn't take care of his responsibilities that led to what you see on the screen, these type of women, right? Now they have to take responsibility for certain things as well, but I digress on that. Let's get into it. Um, Kevin Samuels was a bit harsh at times, I will admit. But Kevin Samuels exposed black women. And when I say he exposed them, not just the situation of their unrealistic expectation that some of them have, or what he exposed about them is that women like this, because like I say, maybe she didn't say it for word, but I know where she's going with it. And I know the mindset of most black women. Um, what he exposed was that black women are lying about something. Black women have a secret. What is that secret, Vernon? Black women lie about this independence. They came up with that term. You'll never hear no other group of women scream they're independent, unless they are a person who want to be black and they hang around black women. But other than that, you'll never hear no other no other I always mess that word up. Ethnicity talk about how they're independent and they don't need a man. Only our women. But Kevin Samuels exposed them for who they are. He exposed them, black women majority, because they had other races called it so, but majority of what he exposed was black women, that they lied. They lied about wanting to be independent. They lied about alpha nigga this, alpha nigga that. What he exposed is that black women want black men. Black women want to be married. Black women want to be loved by these same men that they talk about. And us too, but like I say, I have that series as well, Message to the Black Man. But he exposed them that they really want black men. So they was calling a successful black man, asking him all of these questions because they want to know, how can I get me a black man to marry me? They all can get black men to sleep with them. We know that. But how can I get a black man to marry me? Wake up to me every day. have around the house to do things that I don't have to call people and things that I can't do on my own. To have that masculine energy in my home daily. How can I receive that? What do I need to do? They expose themselves. And again, most of our women have took this thing on of I'm gonna get a degree. I'm gonna basically empower myself before I seek marriage. I'm gonna empower myself, and I'm saying this in air quotes, have fun, which means traveling the world, sitting on every penis that they want to sit on. And then when I'm 35 or older, I'll settle down. And what's happening is our black women seeing that that's not the case. It's not that simple. See, black women hold any woman, but I'm talking about black women now. They hold the key to anybody entering them sexually. They don't hold the key to marriage. A woman's purpose on this earth, can she go to a scholastic institution and get a degree? Can she run a business? Can she do great things on this earth? Absolutely. But a woman's God-given purpose on this earth is to be a helpmeet to a man, to be a mother to children. And that helpmeet means being his wife. That's her purpose. She can do wonderful things on this earth, but her God-given purpose is those two things that I said. And anybody on this planet, if they not in their God-given purpose, no matter what they're doing, they may be doing great things, but they not doing God things. And what I mean by that is, you may have a life. This is why you have people, and you'll look at them and you'll say, the people who go to these therapists, majority of clients of therapists are people who are successful. Do your research. It's not people in the hood that's doing bad financially and working at Burger King, because most of them, they don't even really know they don't even really believe in no therapy. I mean, I don't myself either, but they don't even believe in that. The majority clients, if not all clients of therapists, is successful people who have degrees and careers. You know why that is? You know why that is? Because these people may be successful, but they not in their purpose. See, when you're in your purpose, your God-given purpose, whatever that is for you, I can't tell you what that is. There's something you got to seek God for. This is something that He have a burning passion in you about all your life that you may ignore, and you may be doing things. Again, you may be doing a good thing, but not a God thing. That's your purpose, whatever that may be. Whatever keep you up at night, whatever pulls at your spirit, whatever that may be. It may be something simple. It may be gardening. Let's just say, for example. But the thing about it is, if God put that purpose in you, you got to do it, because you never know that you may look at it all as just gardening, but God may have a purpose for you on this planet. That's not, because and another thing, when you're dealing with following God's purpose, what you got to understand is this: God understands how this world works. He knows that you need finances. So you may say, well, I'm a lawyer, but I like to garden. Now, I'm not telling you to just stop being a lawyer. What I'm telling you is you need to feed that purpose. Don't ignore that purpose. And if you get to a point where your real job is taking up too much time for your purpose, you need to do something about that, because you're not going to have that inner peace that you're searching for until you get into your purpose. And again, you know what that is. If you don't know, God will allow you to know. And again, so these people are going to therapists and getting these drugs, these pharmaceuticals to make them happy all the time, to go against their nature, when all they got to do is seek God, which is the only person who have the answers for them anyway, because He's the one who created them. You know, I always tell people the story when I'm talking about this, and I use the analogy. I remember I had a BMW, and when I would take that car to regular dealerships and when I would take that car to regular domestic auto shops when they needed work, they would always tell me the same thing. We don't know. We maybe can figure out. And after I did that about 2 or 3 times, what happened is my car became to the point where it was just messed up so bad that I had to take it to the BMW. BMW and a lot of these foreign engineering vehicles, they are built different and different. So if you're not the person who manufactured them, you're not gonna really know how to work on them. And the longer you take it to where it need to go, the more damage you're gonna cause, which is gonna mean you have to pay more. Which means by the time it gets to where it's supposed to be, which is the original manufacturer, is gonna be in more damage. Catch that message. So y'all go to these therapists, and y'all go to these therapists. These people they can't help you because they not the manufacturer. God is your manufacturer. All they can do is listen to you, prescribe you some medicine to go against your natural feelings. Make you happy all the time. We supposed to be sad sometimes. We supposed to be angry sometimes. This is why being happy and joyous, it makes it even more greater when we know how it feels. We know how it feels to be sad. We know how it feels to have these different feelings. So we value and we more thankful when we joyous or happy, because we know what it feels like when we sad. So all of those medications do is go against your natural nature. And again, majority of these people are successful. So it's not that it's not that they not able to take care of themselves and live great lives, but it's because they're not in their purpose. And it's an emptiness in them that they trying to fill. The average black woman, I'm not all, I would say 7 out of 10. Or if they not on antidepressants prescribed to them, they on marijuana or alcohol. And I'm not talking about marijuana and alcohol on the weekend when they go out. Every single day when they get off, they gotta have a glass of wine. They gotta have some marijuana to calm them down, because they not in their purpose. They been all over. They passport book look like the subway in Harlem. It got so many stamps in it. They got more degrees than a thermometer. And you would look at their life via social media and say, man, I wish I was her. Man, whole time whole time she chemically dependent just to get sleep. And what I don't respect about them, now this is what I don't respect about them. I'm not mad at them for those things. I'm not bashing them for those things, because again, a lot of our black women come up in these single parent households where they seen their mama work her fingers to the bone just to take care of them. No man was around. And it's projected on them that, baby, you need to take care of yourself. You need to empower yourself so you don't have to never need a man. You don't never have to worry about having a man in your life to take care of you. You need to be able to take care of you. And what they did was they spammed that and put that on steroids. And now that's their only focus, is to get a degree and empower themselves and just deal with men if they want to. And these other races don't do that. These other races go get their education. These other races value education in the same way, but they also value having a man, because they want families. You see these women all the time. They in college or just getting out of college, and they young and they getting married and they starting their families and they growing old with their partner. And our black women are saying, you know what? I'm going to have sex with as many men as I want. I'm going to get as many degrees as I can. When I get 35 or 40, I'll get married. But by that time, none of the men on the market no more. Either married with their families, or they divorced and they don't want no more wives at this point. They divorced, they are widow or whatever they is, and now all they want is concubines and something to lay with. So they'll lay with you, but you'll never have that blessing. Well, I'm not saying you won't never have it, but this man probably won't ever give you the blessing of saying, you know what? Will you marry me? Will you be my wife so I can love? protect. And as Jesus said, as in the scripture, give my life for you. A husband is supposed to love his wife like Jesus loved the church. And you know how much that was? Jesus died for the church. The church is us. Some women never knew that love. And what happens is the frustration pushes them away. They never knew that love of a father to be in their life and tell them how beautiful they is and to give them things and to do stuff for them out of love, not because they want what's between their legs. So they get out in the world seeking that masculine energy from their boys, then the boys turn to men, and they get their heart broke and all kind of things. I'm telling you all the things that add into, because I want it to be clear that I'm not bashing black women. I'm not talking about them. I'm telling them what they're doing, why it's wrong, and what is the prescription to heal it. Right? That's what this is about. I'm coming from a place of love. Right? But I hate videos like this because this video had 30,000 likes. This video had 30,000 likes. And I don't know how many comments, but I read a few comments, and it's basically affirming what she's saying. Yeah, man, forget all that husband and wife stuff. We trying to get these passports stamped up. We trying to get this money. We'll get a man later. But you might not get that man later. And I believe in my heart of hearts, I really believe what I'm about to, I feel like every woman deserves to be proposed to have that marriage, to be loved on by a real man. I think that they deserve that. But it's sad that some of them is not going to be able to get that because they waste all their life focused on the wrong thing, getting money, a degree, getting all these things, going travel the world, that by the time they ready to settle down, it's no good men left on the market. So now what they got to do is they probably either got to quote unquote date down, which is apparently a lot of them don't like to do, or just never get married. Because these dudes that you're going to be your age, either they've been married already, they have children, they divorced, and they don't want to get off into no more of those type of situations. So again, they'll lay with you, but that's it. They'll date you for years on end. They won't marry you. And every woman deserves that. These other races of women, I'm going to say it again, they're not doing that. If they meet Johnny in college and Johnny is a good man, they'll marry Johnny and they'll be with Johnny for the rest of their life. They mindset is not, man, I'm too young. And if I settle down with Johnny right now, shit, I'm going to miss out on all this good dick out there. I might not get to do it. Listen, that's not what they worry about. They worried about, listen, me and Johnny is going to do life together. This is how these other people think. Me and Lee is going to do life together. Me and Amid, we're going to do life together. We're going to be broke together. We're going to be rich together. We're going to travel the world together, or we're going to stay in our local town together. But we're going to be together. Because another thing they understand another thing these other ethnicities understand, because it's preached to them as children, is this is about family. And we have to move this legacy forward one way or another. Right? But our women just the only ones, and the men too. And like I say, I blame the men. I blame the men. Because if we was on our stuff like we were supposed to be on our stuff, mentally, spiritually, our women wouldn't be doing this. If we'd have took care of business and would have left our children and left these women to raise these children, these daughters grew up to be women with these type of mindsets, that they have to empower themselves because they can't depend on the man. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't have these type of energies. And I tell people all the time, we're going to have to do a reset in our community, man. Because we so far behind at this point now where, I mean, it's going to take, well, we need God regardless, but it's absolutely going to take a miracle for us to be, not just to be able to catch up with these other races. I don't even know if that's possible, but just to be able to get to a point where we can have something to build off of. Because now this whole culture that we got going on, it just needs to be trashed. It needs to be trashed. And the devil, the devil's so crafty, man. The devil is so crafty. Listen, I hate the devil, bro. Because he's so crafty. Because what he did was he didn't use something on these women. He play off their weaknesses. So a lot of them came up, didn't have fathers, or even if they had fathers, they still on this, I wanna empower myself by getting 100 degrees, getting money, and I just want to live life. I want to be in control of my life. I don't want to give no control to no man and no family until I'm finished having fun. When you can do all these things and have fun with your family. But the devil is crafty. He told, look, get your degree. Forget a man. And getting a degree is good. So see, he's crafty enough to know that there's nothing wrong with getting a degree. There's nothing wrong with traveling in the world. Nothing wrong with none of these things. But when you put them first priority over a family, over being a wife, that's where it comes in as a problem. That's why most of them on antidepressants or some form of chemical dependency to cope. Passport books look like every page stamp. Mercedes, cars, designer. They on Facebook, on social media, you would think these women live an amazing life. And when you talking about them financially and doing what they want to do, they all live an amazing life, blessed life. But inside is an emptiness. There's a hole inside of them that has to be filled with the purpose, the God-given purpose. We all may have side quest purposes, but ultimately, as a woman, you have a universal purpose. Well, what about the women who God don't allow to have babies? Well, guess what? Listen, I can't speak on that because guess what? This God world, he choose to not allow some women to have children. I can't answer that question. But your universal purpose is one or both of these things, and that is to be a wife, a helpmeet to a man, and a mother. That's your purpose. But without further ado, I'm gonna let her say what she's gonna say. And I'll add a few things, and then I'll close this video.
To live for our mothers and our grandmothers, because we have to live for our mothers and our grandmothers, because
number one, y'all don't have to live for y'all mothers and grandmothers. Because guess what? We can sit back and say, "Oh well, Grandpa made all these babies on Mama, and our mamas was treated wrong because they didn't have education and they didn't have a job." But guess what? These women, you saying that, and you looking from your perspective, but these women were, and I'm not saying some of them wasn't unhappy in certain situations, but they were still see, that's the thing about God. And that's why I tell people all the time that I don't understand how you live in this world without God. See, when you got God in your life and when you're doing God's will, long as you in this skin, long as you in this flesh, you're not going to have a perfect life. It's not going to be perfect. So if some preacher lying to you, telling you that once you give your life to God, life is going to be perfect, he's lying to you. The Bible don't tell you that. Jesus tell you in this world you're going to have trouble. But the funny thing about when you doing God's will and you in his and you live in your purpose, which is God's will for your life, things may happen. You may go through heartbreaking things, but ultimately you're going to have peace in that situation. Our grandmas and our mama might have went through certain things, but they still kept a smile on their face. They still kept the family together. And when it came to their children, they treated us all amazing. Grandparents, all of that. They were good mothers. And they were good wives. While you sitting back saying, "Oh, I wouldn't have put up with that," Grandma and Grandpa followed the scripture. Grandma followed the scripture. Submit to your husband. The Bible do not tell you that you submit to your husband only if he doing his part. That's not what the Bible say. The Bible says submit to your husband. The Bible gives the woman several directions on how she needs to act to her husband. And the Bible gives a man several things to give the man on how he direct the man on how he should treat his wife. These things don't have parentheses with them. Well, if the wife withholding vagina from you, you can't you're supposed to treat her different. No, you have to treat your husband and your wife a certain way according to scripture, or you'll have an issue. The Bible tells the man, if you treat your wife wrong, your prayers will be hindered. So if you sit back and say, well, she withheld sex from me this time, this time, this time, this time, so I'm going to act this way, this way, this way. No. That's not how that go. You got to do your part because you held accountable to God. Let him deal with her. And the same thing goes with the woman. Well, grandma and grandpa and all them, grandma and mom and all them went through what they went through, but they stayed down. And guess what? Most of the time, most of our situation, those men end up being at the mercy of them same women, sickness, or they died. Because God don't play, and the Bible is serious about its laws and ways. And if you don't believe in that, if you don't feel like you're willing to take that on, don't get married. But once you get married, which is honorable in the sight of God, it's rules with that. And they all throughout the Bible. And if you break those rules because the spouse is breaking theirs, both of y'all gonna pay. But whoever break it, if they don't repent, they will have a penalty for it. So you saying what you wouldn't have put up with, it doesn't matter. Mama put up with it, mama put up with it, and God gonna bless them. If not on this earth, he will in the afterlife. Just like Pawpaw and Pops, whatever they did, they gonna pay. If not in this world, in the afterlife, if they don't repent. God undefeated. So you don't have to live for your mother and grandma because they was in their purpose. They did what God put them on earth to do, which is be a wife and or reproduce children and have a family. So you don't have to live for them. They lived amazing lives. And guess what? If they went through a little bit of, extra thing that they might have didn't deserve from the men, guess what? God got a blessing for them. But you want to get in the way of God. Well, I don't forget it. I'm going to do it my way and I'm going to live. No. You ain't living. You're living for you and social media. But let's continue.
Nationality was not a luxury that they had. Most of them chose motherhood and marriage.
Their purpose. But let's continue.
Because it was the only option in front of them.
No, it wasn't. The same option that y'all have now, they had back then. Especially if your parent was a baby boomer. Like if your parents is in their 60s or 70s, I understand things were a little bit rough. You had Jim Crow and it was coming out of Jim Crow. But let's be honest, black people, there's no time in history where black people, outside of slavery, but outside of slavery, there's no time where black people wasn't able to go to college and get a degree. So they didn't choose that because that was the only option. They chose that because that was the right thing. And if you notice, our communities looked at way different back then. See, they like to demonize the women and what they did back then. They like to talk about them, but guess what? They wasn't aborting their children. And again, see, I'm just saying, I'm not bashing nobody. I'm just giving the fact. Back then, I understand, okay, let's not even use abortion because abortion wasn't around. But right now, black women lead the nation in STDs. Our women, our mamas and our mamas were leading no nation in no STDs. The broken homes that we have now, 70% of our children are being raised in single mother homes. That wasn't an issue back then. Black on black crime, that wasn't an issue back then. Crime as a black community, period, was not a crime, was not an issue back then. If you go look at these movies, if you go look at these documentaries, prison back then had one or two it had a few black people. It was majority of white people. Back then, black people didn't call themselves gangsters. That's a new thing. White people was the gangsters. White people was killing each other, Al Capone and all of them. It wasn't us. This is new. Because the breakdown of the black family, and again, the black man is at he's number one, the reason for that. Because he turned his back on God and he worshiped everything else but God. He worshiped money, he worshiped clout, he worshiped vagina. And because of that, God has allowed, not caused, but he has allowed the woman to rebel against us by, instead of valuing being with us and submitting to us, she's valuing and submitting to the degree, the government, and living the life of multiple, of quote unquote having fun. And I'm gonna just leave that alone. Y'all know what that means. I digress on that. All I'm saying is this. They love to talk about how our grandmothers and our mothers put up with this and that, and they had to no, they didn't have to choose marriage because the same option y'all have now, they had. It's just pushed more on y'all now because it's a system, it's a power that really understands what's going on and the destruction of our community, and they got a hand in helping that. And so because of that, they've told you, go get a degree. Go see the world. Have sex with as many men as you want. Wait till you 35 and you'll get, or older and you'll get. And so it worked for some women. It worked because that's how good God is. With some women, because of that decision that they made, there's some of them, they'll settle to be a side piece. Cause this dude married, he ain't leaving his wife. And they in they mid 30s and older, and they said, look, man, it's over with for me, so let me go get somebody else's husband. And so now they being used as a piece of meat by a man who ain't gonna never leave his wife because they so empty that evil fills their heart, right? And again, they home alone by themselves, taking that pill to go to sleep, or that blunt, or that bottle. And as I said, once again, I'm going to continue to say, it's not all y'all fault, black women. It's mostly our fault. And we got to get ourselves back in order so y'all can get yourselves in order. But let me continue with this video.
My mother told me a story about how my grandmother had to get married at 14. And she vowed that none of her daughters would get married until they at least finished college. She told me how her and her sisters always talked about how I was my grandmother reincarnated because she wanted to be a woman who was well educated, autonomous in nature, and outspoken. And I'm everything that she desired to be. What a luxury and an honor it is for me to know that I'm living out her wildest dreams. But also, ladies, we got to get out there and live. We have to get out there and live a life that is so full of laughter, joy, community, spontaneity, adventure, because our mothers and our grandmothers are rooting for us.
Now, again, and I'm gonna play this video one more time on the outro, but these other races of women are not making you won't find a video like this from no other race. Basically telling black women, look, girl, fan your own fire, be outspoken, do whatever you want to do, live your life. And I guarantee this is a woman who will call Kevin Samuels' show and say, at 40 years old, what do I need to do to get married? What do I need to do to find a good man? And another thing you're seeing a lot of them do, and I see a lot of them do, what they'll do is they had a guy who wanted them when they was in high school. But this guy wasn't, at that time, maybe he wasn't attractive. He wasn't financial. Of course, he wasn't financially stable. And they just didn't look at him as somebody that they would deal with because they were beautiful, maybe, or they just didn't want a certain type of guy at that particular time. We know most women at that age are young women. We know what kind of women they go after. So what they're doing is 30 years later, 40 years later, they're in their 50s now. They'll go back to that same guy and just so happen he may not be married or he's been divorced. And because he always had this fetish of being with this particular person in high school, now he'll marry her. So some of them are getting away with this nonsense. And when I say getting away, I don't want to say it as if I'm against it, because I mean, if you find true love and it's true love and y'all come together in holy matrimony, God bless. But that's not always the case. Some of these things are for social media, right? They want the wedding, but they don't want the marriage. Marriage calls for something from both parties, right? And so, I just hate this video, man. I hate videos like this from our women because it just pushes forth a narrative that we need to start going against. I tell people all the time, any young woman that's in my prayer, I tell her all the time the two best decisions. Well, I tell this to people. The two best decisions you'll make in your life, the two best decisions you'll make in your life is choosing to follow God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and his son Jesus Christ, and the person you spend the rest of your life with it in holy matrimony. That's your two best decisions. And that's the two things that's most important to you. And as a woman, I will add being a mother. I mean, some people in this world, maybe, hey, some people may not want to be married. That's what they'll say. I don't believe that. Some people say they don't want kids. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I'm 37. I don't have children. And I'll never say I don't want children. I'm glad at this moment I don't have them, because I'm not married. And I don't want to be a single father. I don't want to be a baby daddy. So being that I never was married, I'll say that. But I would never say I don't want children. I want what God wants for me. So for the people who don't want children, don't want marriage, as a woman, that's your purpose. Hey man, maybe this video ain't for you, but for the women who want that person, their person, that's going to be there with them through thick and thin and do this thing called life with. For the women who want those children within a marriage, not raising them by themselves and doing all this and doing all that. This video is for you, man. Don't listen to women like this. Because that emptiness in your soul, I know you got a degree. You probably been all over the world. I know most black women, that's their thing. You've not been all over the world. You probably got money. You doing well. And that emptiness in you that you can't wonder why, and the wine won't fill that hole, the weed won't fill that hole, the antidepressant won't fill that hole. That hole is because you desire something that God put you on here to be with, and that's a universal purpose for women, which is to be a mother, and a wife. And being a grandmother is something that is even, the Bible say, I forgot exactly, I'm paraphrasing, but the Bible say your grandchildren is like a crown. So that's the thing that women should value, being a wife and being a mother. All this other stuff comes second to that. But I'm gonna play this video in closing, and I thank y'all for listening to me. God bless.
We have to live for our mothers and our grandmothers because optionality was not a luxury that they had. Most of them chose motherhood and marriage because it was the only option in front of them. My mother told me a story about how my grandmother had to get married at 14, and she vowed that none of her daughters would get married until they at least finished college. She told me how her and her sisters always talked about how I was my grandmother reincarnated because she wanted to be a woman who was well educated, autonomous in nature, and outspoken. And I'm everything that she desired to be. What a luxury and an honor it is for me to know that I'm living out her wildest dreams. But also, ladies, we got to get out there and live. We have to get out there and live a life that is so full of laughter, joy, community, spontaneity, adventure, because our mothers and our grandmothers are rooting for us.